Stewart.
Thank you very much for coming out today. I really appreciate seeing so many people, so many friends, so many people I've come to know in the last few years, and many that I've known far longer. And I'm particularly delighted to have my wonderful wife, Michelle, here with me as well today. What brings us here together? We're here because we're all sick and tired of this lousy economy. We've had it with an education system that fails our children. We've had it with the way of operating in our government, in which self-interest seems to prevail over public interest in view of the way decisions are made. And the Moderate Party is bringing people together who say, we want to change the way that business operates in Rhode Island. We want to change the way that we approach our issues so that we can bring together our talents, our time, our efforts to try to make Rhode Island a better place. And interestingly enough, you'd ask the question, well, why would you want to be Attorney General? What does he have to do with any of these core issues? In fact, the lawyer I know just asked me that about an hour ago. Because most of us think of the Attorney General as being the person who is the chief law enforcement officer of the state. And indeed, that is a very important role, and a role that needs to be paramount in terms of any Attorney General's administration. But you know, the job is a lot more important than that. And when you take a look at what the General Assembly has said the role of the Attorney General is to be, it says you are the advocate of the people of the state. You are defined as the advocate when it comes to health care. You are defined as the advocate when it comes to the environment. You are charged with representing the interest of the people in the Public Utilities Commission. You are charged with representing the interest of the public when they happen to be victimized by unfair, deceptive business practices. So what is the role of the Attorney General? It's supposed to be somebody who helps Rhode Island. Whether it be making sure you have affordable options for health care, whether make sure you can have affordable options for your utility costs. What else is he supposed to be? He's supposed to be the person who protects you from the thief. Not just the thief who might hit you on the street, but the thief who happens to be in the corporate office suite, or who also happens to be in City Hall. Those are the roles of the Attorney General. The role of the Attorney General is to be the advocate. And again, it says advocate for health care, advocate for the environment. And the Attorney General is supposed to be the person that we look to make sure that our state and local governments are operating in an open and transparent manner. So what have we seen over the recent years? We've seen failure. Starting with the first part of the responsibilities with respect to criminal prosecution. Isn't it just awful that you take a look at the evidence that came out of the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Facility, and we have not even so much as an investigation? Now, I'm not saying we're going to jump out and indict before we investigate, but certainly there is plenty in this state that warrants a thorough investigation so the public is satisfied. The public that needs to have confidence in our state government, the public is satisfied that our government is operating consistent with the trust in which we place our political leaders. We've had failure when it comes to any of these effective roles. When we followed recently what has happened with respect to the efforts of the health insurance companies and the utilities to secure rate increases, and the role of the Attorney General, candidly, has been to roll over and not to fight back for us, not to recognize that if you're a business owner who's barely getting by offering health insurance, you can't deal with a 10% hike when you can't raise your prices. You're lucky if you have sales of what you had last year. And if you're an individual who's been out of work, you can't deal with a 10% increase in your utility costs. You can't do it. And to say that we are going to do it is just wrong if you take responsibility your role as the advocate. I pledge to be two parts of the Attorney General: a tough, independent, and fair Chief Law Enforcement Officer. And I pledge to be the public advocate that the General Assembly and our Constitution says I would be. And I don't think it's really going to be that hard once we get there. Because frankly, the Department of the Attorney General has a number of really qualified public servants who want to do the right thing, but they are lacking the leadership, they're lacking the direction, and they're lacking the support from the top to get it done. And that is the direction that I would intend to take, which would be to give them the tools and give them the direction to take on seriously the role of public service for this state. And I am convinced that with that type of leadership, we could see an office that really does much to improve the quality of life in Rhode Island. One of the things that I've learned over 30 years as a lawyer is that when someone comes into my office with a problem, I need to shut up and listen. I need to hear what the person is saying. I need to hear the person express, what are you trying to do here? If you, for example, are a small business owner that's having problems with the bank, let's understand what you really want to achieve. And so let's work on our mutual goals and let's listen and work together. And that role of listening and working together on behalf of the citizens of Rhode Island is what I intend to do as Attorney General. And as part of that, I think I would pledge as Attorney General that I would have a confidential and open access to my office from any Rhode Islander who feels that he or she has witnessed petty crimes or even worse, crimes against the public trust. I would be looking aggressively to reach out to you to understand how we can understand our common goals and work together to accomplish a greater good for the benefit of us all. I'm convinced that we can do this. I'm convinced that we have the resources and the people to do it, and that we will do it. And I appreciate all of your support and looking forward to working with you both now and after the election. Thank you.